Окей. Погнали, ёпта. Так. Отправляем. Всем здорово. Продолжаем присоединить в Хуареса и Кол Хуарес Ганслингер, ёпта. Дальше определяем людей навстречу, на тот свет, желательно. Не в башкой, блядь. Сейчас я проверю, про костюм идет или нет. А странно, почему? Погодите, почему вы костюм идет? Сейчас я на этом проверю. На телефоне. Бля, где? Сейчас я проверю. Сейчас я проверю. Ага. Изображение. Да. Вот. Так, припрямляем. Сейчас мне надо. Мне надо. Представляется, спор. Что херня? Алло, почему по костюм идет? Сейчас. Сейчас. Отлично. Сейчас. Давай. А, бля. Так. Окей. Если... Да. Сейчас. Разобрался, как в локальных решениях ебануть слегка. Сейчас. Сейчас. Он против судьи. Сейчас я посмотрю. Бля, вот. Качество. Новый ключ. Сейчас я выбыл. Бля. Опять не нравится, блядь, просто. Бля. А ни хрена, браковое решение не сделали, что не сделали перерыв. Здорово, второй лиф. Хочу браковое решение сделать, ёпта. Не получается, блядь. Если сделай сейчас 1 секунду. Сейчас. Блять. Вот. Решение. Ага. Какой бы это в смысле, я сделал? 1060 ебанулись, что ли, блядь, сейчас? Сейчас. Надо болеть, типа, хуету. Сейчас сделаем. Сейчас, ребят. Сейчас сделаем, блядь. Сейчас настройки. Блядь, сейчас болею по хуйню поиграем. И вам... Так, что там пишет 260 на 140. Что там у нас? Сейчас, Сань, допустимся, ёпта. Выигрывался 140. Вот. Просто. Да, есть такое. Да. 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 Мы с вами вот так. Сейчас мы обключимся. Он не даст 50. А? Он не даст 50, ты угораешь? В каком перебегу он 50 даст? 20 попроси, мы добьем остальное. Сейчас. В каком перебегу он 50 даст? Во. Бока освещения. Сейчас, бока. Бокашка. Блять. Главное ничего не нажать сейчас. Да. Скажи. Во. Да. Сейчас надо телефончик нажать. Лифт получилось! 2К посещения. Ебать! Копать. Сейчас попаю. У меня экран. Сейчас. Сейчас попаю. Ебанулся, блядь. Ага, сейчас. Во! Идеально. Мама сейчас. Это такое. Блока разрешения. Ебать меня. Слабопало? Бля, слабопало. Так, вы... В поле работать. Хуй с ним. Так что всем приятного просмотра, Саня, тебе приятного просмотра, спасибо за поддержку, и вы мне блокад оставил разрешение.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this.
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track him to the ends of the earth.
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell. It was tough to stay on a true course. So we kept an eye out for landmarks.
Вы почти финал. По ходу добивайте игру.
It was autumn, The maple trees were in full color, red as blood. The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded. The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody.
That's it for you.
Вам встречу мобов слепо организовать. Опа, мы розницу.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends.
Yeah. Yes, baby. Блять, че промахиваешь, кого мы быстрее. Понимаю. А фу, погоди. Так, погоди.
The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
Спасибо. Так, надо плотно вести.
Point being, I was under serious attack.
Что? Меня гранаты. Местный демонит, суки. Как разбирайся, что спать не успеете, уроды. Сука. Эй, уроды. Где вы? Офиг. Где вы, блин?
And my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen.
Погоди.
But luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view.
Думаете, что я, короче, убейте меня и все.
But just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running for the bushes. Of course, I followed them. That goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve?
Yep.
So I just started walking. And pretty soon...
Блядь, по-нему побогись.
Steve! Steve!
Steve! Я слушаю.
I'm listening.
I listen.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
They were Indians.
No.
No.
I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Надо аккуратно идти, а то неприятности на каждом, сука, приятном шагу. Блин, засада. По-любому. Я обещаю. Давай. Бля. Yeah.
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet. But I did find a few of their cousins. Kansans breed like rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what.
Yeah.
But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Nice, but the shaky. Этот город слишком мал для нас двоих. Плохо. Давайте. Yeah. Вы всего прятался, я не знаю, по-моему. Так, я понял. Да. Давай, выйди. Что сидите? Как дебилы. А ты выходи. У тебя въебал сейчас. Выйди, блядь. Так, все. Так, все, слушай. Так. Блять. Нет, тут всего. Yeah. Сейчас с вами. Мама, это я не попомню. Это почему нахуй? Так, погоди. Убили, я промолчался. Сейчас мне надо разогреться. Так, сверху и снизу. На. Говно, блин. Я хочу совсем так поступить, только, сука, в реальной жизни нахуй всех переселять. По итогу, блядь, просто это бы помогло бы всем нахуй. Ну их долбоёбов, чтобы я хочу косить лично. Так, тут. Так, тихо. Да, блядь, я. хлеб. Глубокая. Неправильно. Он побавит сильнее. Понимаешь? Говорю это, ну, вот так. Да. Ты профиса и понять, ёбаный. Массофа. Все. Ну, либо сверху попали быстро. Так. Дикого. Так. Так, я понял. Так, я... Где? Где? Сука, ты где? Ты где?
Boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would
Самый
threaten.
близкий село крепко, на этом западе это я. Мы больше не пробовали. Тупо я. Да, было сложно, было тяжело, пиздов. Ну, окей. Почти как дальше.
That's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
Типа мой корабль, да.
In a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps? Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me,
Давай.
But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
Ну, тут сложно сегмент, признаюсь. Тут не сложно. Так, тихо. Да. Готово. Мужики. Место находится в другой стороне.
Somewhere up there, the Daltons were waiting on me.
О, нормально. Сейчас разъедем. Это кто? Как бля обойма. Войди.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am, Ben. I set out to do something. I'll do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature.
В городе самая быстрая рука это я. Ёпта. Так, он пизда, понимаете? Вы осознаете это? Да, у нас осознаем, что нам пиздец. Так. Мам. Мам сюда. Я самая быстрая рука, моя бомба просто таких. Ну да. Пацаны ведь шепом бурагосики. Вам надо по-хорошему сдаваться. Гопники хреновые. Я охотник за вашими тупыми головами.
Much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them after months of dogged pursuit. But it turned out that they had me.
I'm sending you to hell.
Это плохо. Это плохо.
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle. Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Well, yeah, but I was in a fight.
Did you hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
We're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think they'll even float.
So anyway,
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic was unsafe.
oh God,
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Gривз?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. I was coughing up smoke and pretty damn pissed. I was done playing games with those boys. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Что?
weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Бум, любимая. Пойди бы, пень.
О, попадался. Попадался.
Говно попалило, чтобы в канале сдохло с луками. Камера сейчас. Два дебилов сдохли оба. Произношение любники. Биба и Боба, два долбоёба, блядь, горит что-то. Сейчас я этих двух дебилов уголы. Все. Вы что, ёбаные? Получится, получится. А, бля, бог.
Two brothers side by side, determined to
Блин,
take me
эти
down.
два упыря.
Confident that this time the odds were on
Блин,
their
бог
side.
просто. Вот. Короче, развернуть, своим давай.
Отдыхаем.
Сейчас,
Хотел сразу после школы спать. Тренировка и сон.
сейчас, мама.
Завтра президентский зачет. Нет, мы завтра раздаем нормативы. Надо, короче, пораньше стать. Вот. Насколько урок прорвут и это.
Только бог.
И потом мы пойдем.
Что? Сейчас.
They got it wrong.
Получили Биба и Боба, два долбоёба.
If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive
Реально,
despite his wounds.
как Биба и Боба выглядел.
Paroled 14 years later. He moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. and the tragic death
Бесчестное
of his two
убийство.
brothers.
Нормально. Это база уже.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told.
Что такое?
It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Собственно, граница. Один поезд, блин,
I've been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy. They were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Were you a part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy. A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. I'd heard about a large shipment of gold being transported to Wilcox, Wyoming on the Overland Flyer. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop. Well, I assumed the Wild Bunch was likely in the still intact part of the train high above. So I had no choice but to make my way up through the passenger cars dangling down. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
Ears are still ringing from blowing up that bridge.
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them. From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass out of there.
Пистолет хорошая штука. Помогает пораскинуть мозгами.
I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados. Outside, inside, any way I could, I made my way towards my prey.
Well, what about the passengers?
It was mostly a freight train, as I recall. There were no passengers aboard that day.
Это глупо сейчас было. Типа, он выстрелил, я
As I mentioned before,
вышел,
I'm
я
not
его
fond of heights.
снял.
but I was too busy dodging bullets to worry about falling to my death. Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway. So I was determined to take down as many of those bastards as I could.
With either hand.
Times it was like shooting ducks in a shooting gallery. The only difference is these damn ducks shot back.
Сейчас бубль 2.
I kept hoping the law would show up and give me a
You
hand.
mean like that giant Pinkerton posse that I read about?
Мы через
Did they come
поезд
riding
идем.
in, guns ablazing to help?
Еще флоумо ебашим. Это кто? Тут флоу. Крышка. Волшебный отряд против диких бандитов. Понятно.
Help? From the Pinkertons? No, son. I had to fight the wild bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Окей. Да. Ага. Я. Да. Блядь, это купор, если помывайся, он паркует, делает. Так, привет. Напало нахуй. Дядька просто не впустил пришел, я он подделаю. Так. В этом городе самая быстрая рука.
My guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it happened, did they? Only a few stragglers were left. I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail. Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nosed Curry.
Who was he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after Sundance, I mean. And Kid Curry, and maybe Elsie Lay. Though some folks might dispute that.
Давай. Ах ты говно поганое, чтобы сдохло просто. Просто ты, как мою сдох. Тихо, говно.
On that very same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America. They ended up living down there for many years, but I'm sure you already know all about that.
Когда честно спокойнее. Сейчас типа дорога в ад.
I tried to find Bob Bryant, but it was as if he'd disappeared. Sometime later, I heard the Wild Bunch was back together. Kid Curry escaped from jail, and now he was running the whole shebang. So I took to their trail, as I was still in pursuit of my brother's killer and hoped that he was back with him.
Я помню на остановить.
Don't let him hear you saying that.
Anyways, I tracked those boys to a camp right outside Parachute, Colorado.
Who's shooting at?
Давай. Подарок.
Being outnumbered, I didn't bother with a warning shot. I just started taking those bastards down. Old Bob wasn't among them, neither was Kid Curry. I could sense him close by, however, plotting something nasty. Just needed a clue as to their whereabouts.
Он еще пробывает, как в фильмах, как в фильмах. Где? Сюда. Пацаны имеется, если найду. Где? Что?
And I found one. A map with their bold plan clearly marked. This time they were fixing to blow up a train trestle. Property of the Union Pacific. The plan clearly indicated how they were fixing to undermine several of the weakest wooden supports.
Oh,
Kid Curry was considered the wildest of the wild bunch. It was said that he fathered 85 bastard children, though some say it was only 5. Kid Curry had bragged to a whore how he was going to rob a train heading to the U.S. Mint in Denver. And that whore, Fat Sally, she told me. Of course, I had to tread carefully. Otherwise, I could, well, die.
Если куда я ходил, там 4 часов. Куда я в полтора ходил, 6 с чем-то. Блядь, 6 с чем-то это дорого. Да, если с чем-то
заказывать, не надо, да. So I decided I'd best be careful confronting those bastards. A moment later, I saw a ladder that somehow had escaped my attention.
Don't you blow us up now.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
Что? Я типа дала сас. Мне память не убьет.
What the hell?
The Wild Bunch did not take kindly to my presence and attempted to blow my head off. See? One wrong shot. And they never would have found all the pieces of me.
Don't you blow us up now.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
Раскрыл дальше, блядь, все было охрененно. Поэтому... Блядь, погоди. Попало.
It appeared the kid had found a number of new recruits to bolster their ranks. Guess there's always desperate men willing to trade their lives for stolen treasure.
What happened next?
Well, having removed the first bundle of dynamite, I decided I might as well remove the other one. Once that was done, I figured I'd find my way from there.
Так, голова. Так. Вася. Как ты тупой ты? Да, блядь, шумпупи, шумпупа, блядь. Я выгорю, нахуй. Это... Погоди. Погоди. Я. Я выходи. Я. Нормально. Вот как всегда его. Я.
So what happened then?
I had to remove more of that damn dynamite.
Yeah.
It must have been terrifying trying to make your way across.
I was sweating it a bit, but then I noticed a footbridge tied up on high, so I shot the rope.
Так, куда нам был теперь? Летя. Это вообще было круто.
So that was all the dynamite?
Well, funny you should mention that, darling. As actually there was a fourth charge impeding my progress.
Yeah.
Once I removed it, my path was pretty clear.
Я хуй.
So I proceeded onward and realized that that way just wasn't going to work. I needed an alternate path forward.
Могил. Обоссал. Ну, что самое неприятное, это когда я вчера к одному человеку заходил, там, блядь, два нитка таких неприятных было. Сука, если нашел бы, обоих закопал бы, куда могилу я бы обсуждал бы, ну, рыл, я бы бензином залил бы, сжег. То есть не замерз, а когда они живы были, мы остались чисто. Да, я жестокий. Почему я жестокий? Потому что либо все, либо ничего. Либо нужно просто попрощаться с чем пришел. Вакуумы джунглей, ё-моё. Супер. Походу ниже спускаюсь, и я запутался. Конец. Я не понял. Как?
Luckily, I found a cave, and as I made my way back to the bridge, I saw something that concerned me. It was a long burning fuse, and it was moving fast as hell. I had to catch it. The burning fuse was so damn quick, I had to run like the wind. I almost had it, but no. Thought I was gonna have a coronary when I lost sight of those sparks. My heart was pounding like a sledgehammer. I knew that failure meant boom. Then, finally, at the last moment. Of course, I was successful, or clearly I wouldn't be talking to you folks here today. Naturally, I removed the last dynamite charge. Well, it was a touching reunion. But by this time, I was thoroughly exhausted and dragging my ass as I was not a young man anymore.
Так, смотри, да. Если клуб рефериф, то заходите. Гашу, блядь.
It's truly amazing I've made it this far in life, considering how many times I've danced with death.
Так, главное не упасть. Держись, подпись. А, я понял.
Finally, I found those boys, or more precisely, they found me.
Я не успел, я даже не увидел этого. Ладно. Так, я сейчас сделаю.
Finally, I found those boys, or more precisely, they found me. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Kid Curry opened up on me with a goddamn Gatling gun. It was hidden in this tunnel and pretty well shielded.
Ну вы его закидывали. Сейчас. Закидывать. Бля. Футбол. Тупо футбол, блять, просто. Это желание. Так, бил и поп. Да. Сейчас объемся. Так, как ковбой. блядь, пиццу, блядь. Ай, как говно. Оп.
Luckily, I had located some dynamite. I still, however, had my work cut out for me.
No, but you got this head. Нет. Okay.
Eventually, I brought that tunnel down. That's when I met Kid Curry himself. He had decided to stop pussyfooting around and deal with me personally.
Это было красиво, конечно. Было красиво. Говно попалилось, сдохло. Я хотел попал. Ну хорошо. Пауза. Терпим. Тихо. Тут я уже не готов. То есть надо тайминги выбирать, а он свой хуй поймает. Так. Тихо. Тихо.
As fast as he was, I was just a bit faster. And as he lay wounded, I demanded to know the whereabouts of Roscoe Bob Bryant. He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him. Those were his last words.
По-любому круто. Знаете почему сейчас? Объясню. Ну, когда я убил мужа, сейчас я буду.
So, Bob Bryant got away?
I knew I'd never find him in South America.
What about the other killer?
Yeah, you kind of glossed over that one.
Well, I found Jim not long after my showdown with Ringo. At the time, he was riding with the James Younger gang. Did I neglect to mention that?
Jesse James? The greatest outlaw who ever lived?
Jesse and his kin rode with Quantrill when he raided Lawrence, Kansas, and killed near 200 people, boy.
Nothing great about that.
And from there, him and his brother went on to rob banks and trains from Kansas to Missouri.
Which is why there was such a rich bounty on their heads. 40 grand for both of them, dead or alive. That's one hell of a payday.
Тема поезде. Нормально. Прикольно. Это тема полного. Это сейчас и купит. Готовится.
I confronted them as they were robbing a train. Bullets were flying at me from every which way. But I knew I'd have to fight my way forward if I was gonna find this gem.
Дней 15 июля 1881 года один из поездов частной компании Рок Айленд и Pacific, сам представитель, по-моему. Спейса было. Что больше было? Что больше было? Вот, да, что больше? Как это? Сейчас мы все сделаем, нам надо...
Now wait a second. Now, how'd they stop this train in the first place?
Well, the James boys were experts at this.
По легендам, он мог одним взглядом остановил поезд. Jesse James.
They hopped a freight train having heard there was a big payroll in the express safe. So, I hopped the same train.
Так, я не хочу.
The James Younger gang was decimated after that little fiasco they had in Northfield, Minnesota. So Jesse needed more men and took on the killer I was after, along with a host of others. I was hoping to find my man and put a bullet in his head. Climbing around that train, I must have swallowed 100 damn bugs before I reached that...
The James Younger gang pulled the first train robbery west of the Mississippi.
Well, it sounds like you hold them in high regard.
Everyone knows they were the most famous outlaw gang ever.
And you took them all on by your lonesome. Again, I'm finding this all a little hard to swallow.
Well, maybe you need to wash it down with some whiskey. By the way, did I mention that train was flying down those tracks like a bat out of hell? Anyway, excuse me, Ben. Where would I find the gentleman's facilities? Suddenly I have an urgent need to drain my one-eyed snake. Well, I've had more than a few drinks, and I've been sitting here for quite a spell.
Right through there. Let me show you.
Anyway, excuse me, Ben. Where would I find the gentleman's facilities? Suddenly I have an urgent need to drain my one-eyed snake. Well, I've had more than a few drinks, and I've been sitting here for quite a spell.
Right through there. Let me show you.
It was a rickety ride and quite precarious.
I never heard so much malarkey in my life.
You think he's bullshitting us?
You don't think he's Sylas Gривz?
I think he's just some old drunk looking for some free liquor.
I don't know, Jack. I think I believe him. You don't think he met Jesse James?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That story makes no sense at all.
Jack.
I mean, you gotta be 2 bricks short of a load to believe that cock and bull story.
I don't agree.
Jack, lay off the
But you seriously think that tired old man went toe-to-toe with Jesse James?
Well, that's better. Did I mention that this Jim was married to the infamous Belle Star? Of course, I didn't learn that until later. Anyway, I made my way forward the best I could. Around the sides, over the roof. It was definitely safer on the inside of the train. At some point, some sumbitch saw me and shouted out, "It's a damn Pinkertons!" Now, I never worked for that lying cocksucker, but I guess they assumed I was one of his assassins. Those evil bastards firebombed Jesse's mother's house and killed his stepbrother. So it's no wonder each and every asshole on that train wanted me dead.
Everybody's always mistaking you for somebody else, aren't they? Why is that, I wonder?
I don't rightly know, Jack. I'm just telling you how I remember it.
I bet you are.
Die, you bastard!
I came across a flat car piled high with logs and had to come up with a creative way to make my way forward.
Опа.
I wondered if I was ever gonna find the front of that train, or the bastard I was after. Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here.
Well.
Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here.
прилететь через пулю сел, помню. Это я помню.
Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here.
Я с вами Пуп, маленький тихонький палапку. Кстати, я понял, как это делать. Понятно. Сейчас я все сделаем. Вообще моль пропустим из кадров. Что я дерьмо? Охренеть. Представляете? Моль просто. Себе паукой. Там будет 15 тысяч. Себе 6. Еба. Нормально. Все. Битрейт. Все без. Понятно. Понятно, ясно. Вот эти. Баклей понимать. Бабу бьёт. Я помню, что я боюсь. Я чуть лопну. пола. Надо даться было. Давай сейчас. Надо покачать после пола. Пришло. Это. Все.
Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story here.
Ага. Там. Много осталось. Изи. Очень легко и просто. Просто, пожалуйста, просто.
Не прошло, мам.
Я посижу сам, когда бросаю. Хипнозота индиец.
I was looking for Jim and shooting any son of a bitch stupid enough to get in my way.
А на зарядку? Не хочешь на зарядку?
Она еще. Все. Yeah. Я. Уже не моя.
And that included Jesse James himself. There sure were a lot of men determined to die that day. It was then that Jesse detached the express car from the rest of the damn train. I could see Jesse waiting for me, fixing to kill me so he could get away with all that money.
You had a showdown with Jesse James?
Of course he didn't. Everybody knows that Jesse was killed by Bob Ford. Yeah, Jesse went out like John Wesley Hardin. Coward shot him in the back of the head.
Guess it doesn't matter how far you run, does it, Ben? Your past always catches up with you. Yeah, I didn't kill Jesse James. Just wounded him bad enough to convince him to hang up his guns.
What about that Jim fella? What happened to him?
I figure he was up front with a gun to the engineer's head. That bastard slipped away again. I'll tell you how I got him. But first I need to wet my whistle. After my showdown with Jesse, I continued to track his brother, Frank, and that sumbitch Jim. I followed those bastards into the high mountains as they were going to ground.
What mountains would that be?
Somewhere in the Ozarks, I believe. The perfect place to hide out from the authorities. In fact, before I could find them, some Indians who fled the Reds and were hiding out from the military found me first. They probably thought I was a cavalry scout and didn't want me telling the military where they were.
Indians?
Yeah, they could have been Cheyenne, but there was all sorts of renegades roaming the landscape back then.
Okay. Готово.
Hey, how about another whiskey, Ben? Nothing better to soothe the troubled soul.
Sure.
Now, where was I? Indians, right. I had more than my share of run-ins with the Red Man. Like that time... Did I tell you about Grey Wolf?
Yes, sir. You did.
Ah, of course I did. In fact, I could still remember that old medicine man's words to me.
Jeez, we're back to that again.
You carry great darkness in your heart. It will claim your soul. You will come to this place again and kill many more men.
How about wait? With my I very I feel.
And the darkness will grow until it consumes everything you are.
So, did you ever find it? Who? The man you are after.
Let me ask you something, Ben. You ever think about death?
Mr. Gривз, are you all right?
Ooh, death. Oh, death. Won't you spare me over till another year? What is this that I can't see? With ice cold hands, they can hold me. Well, I am death, none can excel. I'll open the door to heaven or hell. Oh, death, someone would pray. Could you wait to call me another day? Oh, death. Won't you spare me over till another year?
So, are you gonna answer the question?
What question is that?
Jim Reed. Did you ever find him?
Reed was indeed that son bitch's surname. That's right, Ben. A despicable character. I remember him laughing like a hyena that cold morning they lynched me and my brothers. He was intent on avoiding my vengeance, but nothing was gonna stop me. Nothing.
Frank Gривз.
I finally did track those outlaws down. They had long rifles with scopes and were well positioned to pick off any poor soul who came anywhere close.
Well.
Chai, Indiski chai, Gruzinski chai, हाथ करवा दे बिस्किट
I'm guessing Frank James believed I was responsible for the demise of his brother Jesse. I couldn't really disagree with the man, as I thought Jesse was dead then as well. He backed off as I closed in on him, but he was still intent on killing me. And when I closed in on him again, he backed off again, looking for a better angle on me. Well, I can't fault Frank for wanting his revenge, as I was there for the same damn reason myself. At this point, I'm guessing you think Sайлас Гривз is a worse murderer than Jim Reed ever was.
No, sir. Isn't that why you were hunting the James gang?
Right. I finally found Frank holed up in his mountain cabin, and he was determined to have me dead. It was a pitched battle that could have gone either way. Luckily, I had some dynamite in my possession.
Dynamite? On your person?
A few sticks, just in case. It's always good to be prepared.
Right.
I'm just laying out the facts as I remember them, Jack. Old shack? Well, it went tumbling right off that cliff.
With Frank James still in it?
Yes, sir.
But Frank James is still alive, living in Missouri, showing folks around the family farm for 25 cents a tour.
I didn't say he died in the fall, now did I?
I'm done with this damnable outlaw life. Kill me, don't kill me, do what you will. At this point, I just don't give a shit.
I explained to Frank that I had nothing against him personally and that I was looking for someone else.
You want Reed? Have at him. I never did like that bastard. I am done here.
We parted in peace as Frank pointed out the path to my prey before making his way back down the hill.
So, what happened with Reed?
Well, I finally found the last of the gang hiding in a nearby cave. First, I had to dispatch the lookouts. I was determined not to let that murderer escape my revenge again.
Кофе фуги подавно поиспек подлог. Бакман попробуй.
I decided it would be better to smoke that son of a bitch out. Hey, Reed! I shouted. No wonder you're so ornery. Can't be easy being married to Belle Starr. While you're off providing for the family, she's spreading her legs for every Tom, Dick, and Cole Younger. Not an attractive woman exactly, but very friendly. At least she was to me. Son of a bitch! It was then that the last bunch of bandits jumped out of hiding.
Why won't this asshole give up? We'll show him who
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, it was just me and Reed. I had waited a long time to face him down, so I could repay him for what he did to my brothers.
That's what fucking doing. Can't believe it.
And repay him I did. Well, I don't know about you boys, but I'm pretty beat.
Well, it's too damn bad you never found that Bob character. Seems a shame you never had to pay.
Well, funny thing about that, I did have one more chance at him. 6 months ago, I heard that Butch and Sundance were back in the States and had gathered up some of their old gang. I tracked them down, hoping that Roscoe Bob Bryant had returned with them.
So you're saying they didn't die down in Bolivia?
That's what I'm saying.
Починал. Хороший и плохой. Очень хороший, плохой, мертвый. Во. Почитал. Ну, название такое.
40 years I had waited to get my hands on the last of my brother's killers. Not even an army of demons could have stopped me now.
Yeah.
Both Johnny Ringo and Jim Reed fell fairly quickly. But the last one, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Yeah.
That son of a bitch had managed to escape my vengeance time and time again. I couldn't even be certain I recognized him after all those years. By now, he had to be close to 70.
For all you know, he could have been dead.
That thought had indeed crossed my mind, as did others. For instance, did my thirst for vengeance turn me into something worse than the man I was after? By this point in my storied career, I had killed more men than Bob Bryant ever had. I was furious as hell at that bastard for making me who I am. A man with no family, no friends, no purpose except shooting Bob Bryant dead.
Yeah.
Nothing could stop me from taking his life. I've been after that killer forever. From the time I rode with Billy the Kid. But that chapter of my story you already know.
Chapter of that fairy tale, you mean?
Suddenly it was 1910. There I was, an old man roaming a ghost town dead almost 2 decades.
I mean, you pray you.
The town was falling apart, just like me.
Ты дебил? Здесь правильно. не понимаю.
Just like me. But I wasn't about to call it quits. 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 Even though the ghosts of my dead brothers were begging me to end what I started so long ago.
Mr. Gривз, are you all right? Would you like some water?
The Wild Bunch knew I was there. They were after a treasure they had hidden before they fled, buried in the grave of a dead amigo. Some folks think the town is haunted, so they figured there wouldn't be many people poking around. I intended to fill that grave with Bob Bryant's corpse. But like I said, the bandits knew I was on to them. They lured me in and hit me with everything they had.
They're gonna bury you in a million pieces. Put that man's on down.
But you obviously prevailed since you sent me this down.
Actually, in that moment, I did not prevail.
So I suppose we're talking to a ghost.
Funny you should put it like that, Jack. Up. It's all around me. I could swear to God I saw Billy then.
Billy who?
Billy, the kid. William Bonney. He was shooting at me from a rooftop. Here, there, and even over there. I could swear to God I saw Billy then.
Billy who?
Billy, the kid. William Bonney. He was shooting at me from a rooftop.
So I am right. You are titched in the head.
Mr. Gривз, perhaps we should switch you to coffee?
You see that old Indian again, too?
No, but I did see Billy's killer. Patrick Floyd Garrett. He came at me guns a-blazing. But I knew that old war horse had died 2 years before. I wondered if maybe I was dead too and confronting the ghosts of my past. Perhaps all my sins were coming back to haunt me and drag me down to perdition. I saw Henry Plummer throw dynamite at me. In the gates of the cemetery, I saw John Wesley Hardin, just like I remembered him. Robert Ollinger appeared with his terrible double-barrel shotgun. The no ghost army was stopping me.
My father-in-law got hit with a fallen branch. He spent the rest of his life talking to dogs.
Newman Hayes Clanton, William Brocious, John Peters Ringo, they all wanted me dead.
обофой их
The Dalton brothers, Robert and Grattan, guardians of the Garden of the Dead. George Curry and Harvey Logan, alias Kid Curry, both thirsty for vengeance from the great beyond. Jesse, Woodson, James, and Jim Reed. Each one deader than the next. I thought I would go crazy.
Thought?
Так.
Finally, I saw Harry Alonzo Longabaugh.
The Sundance Kid?
Like a general leading his legion of the dead.
You told us before that you'd seen him alive.
He was alive.
Yeah. God.
Then I heard a voice call to me from afar. It was Robert Leroy Parker, a.k.a. Butch Cassidy, coming at me from out of the fog.
Thanks for taking care of that bastard.
Это финал. Чапс. Это финал. Очка. Ты будем воевать. Будь Cassidy. Сайлас Гривз. Мексиканская бренд.
But the kid wasn't quite deceased. Not yet.
Takes more than one little bullet to kill the likes of me, partner.
Those two looked like they hadn't seen each other for quite a while. Clearly, they were no longer amigos.
Shit. I was hoping I wouldn't have to kill you.
You won't have to, Butch. I'm killing you first.
I asked them about Bob Bryant, but they were too busy with their own heated conversation.
Let me get this shit straight. You want my money and the love of my life?
You frittered it all away, Butch. Etta's mine. So is that damn money.
I didn't want to shoot anybody until I had an answer to my question, but those boys didn't give me much of a choice.
боссами.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid died there in that cemetery not 6 months ago.
Врагов 67. Дай пизду. Что вам сказать? Эпилог. Красиво.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were killed by the Bolivian army. Everybody knows that.
That's the legend, but it ain't the truth.
So, you never found Bob? There is no Bob. This old sumbitch ain't even Sайлас Гривз.
Sir, is that true? Have you been pulling our legs this whole time?
Well, not the whole time.
Oh, man, I think you've worn out your welcome here.
Maybe you're right, Jack. Maybe it's time to pay. You see, Ben, or should I say Bob, your past always catches up with you.
I was a different man back then, crazy. Drinking, I've changed my ways, I swear to you. If I could turn back the clock,
But you can't, Bob.
Why'd you toy with me like that? Telling those tales, knowing all along. Why not just lay your cards on the table?
Wanted to suss you out, Bob. See what kind of man you turned out to be. Maybe prod you into drawing on me. See, all those years on your trail turned me into a killer. Can't even remember who I was before you tried to murder me. You, on the other hand, walked that very same path in exactly the opposite direction.
What do you mean by that?
You think your life is worth sparing, Bob? Boy, what's your name again?
It's Eisenhower, sir. Dwight Eisenhower.
What do you plan to do with your life, Dwight Eisenhower?
Tomorrow I'll be leaving for West Point, sir.
So, you want to be a soldier? Well, then do it right, son. Don't tear down the world out of anger and spite like I did. You build it up. You do something decent with your life, you hear me?
Sir? Yes, sir.
I won't have it said I left you with nothing, Bob.
Сам почему еще одна игра в копилку канала. С вами был Пом Шелбом. Всем удачи, всем пока.